You're listening to This Week in America with Rick Bratton.
Welcome back, everybody. This Week in America, website thisweekinamerica.us. Great to have you with us on the program. Nat Measley, our guest of the program. Nat is the CEO and managing partner, master of fun at the Fun Department. He's lived and breathed fun since he was a baby. Literally, he grew up in chocolate heaven, Hershey, Pennsylvania. The Olympic swimmer wannabe, karaoke crooner, has 2 degrees from the University of Delaware, a Bachelor of Science in Sport Management, and a Master of Public Administration with a focus on organizational leadership. Nat is an experienced public speaker, facilitator, and trainer, works directly with CEOs, leaders, HR professionals, and administrators to develop fun programming that supports their organizational goals. He's the co-author of the book, The Fun Department Presents Playing It Forward, the definitive how-to model for creating a winning workplace culture. And he's with us on This Week in America. Nat, welcome to the program. It's great to have you with us.
Thank you, Rick, so much. It's a pleasure to be here. I am looking forward to the interview and, of course, having a little bit of fun along the way.
Well, we're going to have fun during the course of the program today. And Nick was on a while ago, maybe a month and a half, couple months ago. We were talking about you because you're the co-author of the book and the inspiration for so much of what's done by the Fun Department. And let's talk about your background. We mentioned at the time minor league baseball. You worked for a team just north of Baltimore, a team that was very successful. And fun was actually part of their culture, how they entertained the public. Did 5 straight years of sellouts, and the sellout was like 7,000 seats. So for you, this was a real learning experience, wasn't it?
It really was. It was interesting to jump right in to that culture, and it was the world of minor league baseball. So really, from a personal and professional growth perspective, I got the chance to touch and feel a lot of the different parts of the business, including not just the fun and the entertainment side of an actual baseball game, but a lot of the back end work that went into making sure that the sponsors were happy and a lot of the vendors and, of course, the fans were having a great experience. And we used fun. Maybe that wasn't how we defined it at the time, but we used fun to make sure that everybody had a better experience.
And part of the job, you would get out and be in the crowd and get them cheering. And that's where Nick is at a game with David, and they see you and you impress them. And again, that was only part of your job. You had an executive part of the job, and then you had the fun part of the job where you were out with the crowd. You really made an impression on the two of them, didn't you?
Yeah, Nick tells the story that he was watching, Dave Raymond, a consummate performer. He and David are sitting in the crowd. David was the original Philly fanatic with the Philadelphia Phillies baseball team. So when you talk about entertainers and performers in the sports entertainment industry, he is one of a handful of people that you look to first. He was a pioneer. He did it for 17 years with the Phillies. So he and Nick are sitting there. They had this business concept that a company could have a fun department. And the story goes, they were watching one of David's characters, a mascot in a big purple suit, performing on one of the dugouts, and he was entertaining the crowd. And apparently they looked down at the first base dugout on the other side of the field, and there was this young kid in cargo shorts entertaining the crowd, and they were going wild and crazy, and that was me. And so the two of them approached me after the game, and they said, we saw you in front of the crowd. They were getting fired up about baseball and the game and just being there and being present and sharing in this fun that night. Would you be interested in helping us start this company? We're calling it the Fun Department. And I said, what the heck is the Fun Department? And they said, we have no idea yet, but you'd be great.
But we could use your idea in sort of defining what it's going to be. And it officially kicked off in January of 2005. So a decade of being in business. And a lot of people have been out there talking about fun equals good employees, equals productivity, retention, that type of thing. But you've taken it to another level. I mean, you actually are out working literally with hundreds of organizations of various sizes and implementing it, because it really isn't necessarily one size fits all, is it?
No, you're absolutely right. And yeah, thank you for the accolades. We have been what we call delivering fun into companies for over a decade now since we kicked off the business. And that famous baseball story was the first summer in operation for the Fun Department. And one size really doesn't fit all. Every company has different employees, different people. They might be of different or varying ages. They might be of different or varying backgrounds. And the most successful programs, what we would call a fun department internal for a company, are ones that are geared at what people, those actual individuals, consider fun. Oftentimes, the company misses the mark. You might see there's a famous commercial we reference where there's a boss and he takes everybody out off and they go play paintball. And the reason they've chosen paintball is because the boss likes to play paintball and he thinks it's fun to pepper everybody with paintballs.
Yeah, and everybody else is going to enjoy it as much as he does.
Yeah, and some people might, but some people might literally be running in fear. And so, though that doesn't necessarily specifically happen in the corporate where people are running from, of fear from fun, people are cognizant of it. They're wary of it. And if the leadership of a company or the corporate culture itself isn't setting that tone for how the fun can be developed and making sure that it is geared at your people, the chances of it being successful are a lot less.
With us on This Week in America, Nat Measley. He's the CEO and managing partner, Master of Fun at the Fun Department. Their website is very simple, morefunatwork.com. Morefunatwork.com, because that's what the Fun Department is doing with organizations all across the country, including nonprofits, and we'll talk about that. If you go to our website, thisweekinamerica.us, you can always link in directly to Nat's website. They've been creating fun in the workplace since 2005, and the book we're talking about is The Fun Department Presents Playing It Forward, the definitive how-to model for creating a winning workplace culture. And this really is a playbook. I say one size doesn't fit all, and you emphasize that, but you really break things down where you can really learn a lot from this book, can't you? It takes you by the hand and walks you through the process.
Yeah, we have a defined process for how to create fun programs, how to design them so that they do fit for your people and for your culture, how to schedule them, how to plan them. All of these are very important aspects to creating fun in your work environment. How often do you hear somebody saying, hey, we're going to do something fun next Saturday or next Wednesday, during the week, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And then Betty from accounting can't make it, so the fun has to be canceled.
Exactly.
All of those little pieces that go into our model really help to take almost everything that somebody could say, every negative, every criticism about why fun can't work. We call those barriers to fun, and we've answered all of those questions. So that's part of the model.
Yeah, and one of the barriers, you talk about it, everyone has to attend every time. And you're saying that's not necessarily so. And if you do it, for example, on a monthly basis, if somebody can't make it in February, it's no big deal. You just pick them up in March. I guess one of the problems, you can overthink something and become overwhelmed in trying to get, 87 employees and they all can make every single event you're throwing. And you're saying you don't have to do that.
No, not at all. And 87 is actually a pretty neat number to utilize because it's a good kind of middle size for a group or a team. If you think a company, that could be a single department, of 87 people. And you're absolutely right. It's impossible to get 87 people together. How many people do you have in your immediate family, and how often does everybody make it to Thanksgiving?
Yes.
And everybody has off on Thanksgiving. You should be there.
No excuses.
And maybe there's some family politics going on. I don't want to touch on that in today's interview. But that is one of the biggest challenges. And in a real world scenario, we want people to learn and know exactly what you just said, Rick. If you're doing fun, some of the companies we work, we try to train and teach them that you can be doing things on a weekly or even daily basis, so that if Betty from accounting can't make it because she has a dentist appointment on Tuesday, she will be able to be there next Tuesday. Or she'll be able to see some pictures and videos of the fun that happened during the actual event or the program, whatever it may be.
Nat Measley, our guest on This Week in America. The website is very simple, morefunatwork.com. The book is Playing It Forward. And in talking about that, a lot of people would go, because there's still, I'm assuming, a little, I don't want to say resistance, but it's like fun equals to be working all the time. In fact, in the book, you've got some great examples. Zappos, an interview with Tony Hsieh. You've got Google, where 20% of their day is doing something that's fun because they feel that a creative mind is a well-rested mind. But some will say, okay, we do like a picnic and we have them bring the families and the kids every summer. We have like a big holiday deal. That's two. What more could we do? And you're basically saying maybe you could even scale back those a little bit if you're worried about funding and do them on a more regular basis.
Yeah, absolutely. The company picnic, the mandatory weekend holiday party, these
Yes.
are somewhat things of the past in our research and in our experience. just because people's personal time is extremely valuable, their work time is extremely valuable, and we've seen a better effect. We've seen productivity, profitability, employee engagement numbers. With some groups we've worked with, even attrition numbers and absenteeism improved over time when you do include fun as part of your culture on a more consistent basis. It's funny, I speak with a group of college students every semester, and they're usually juniors or seniors. They're part of a leadership design course at the University of Delaware where I went, have a connection there. And I always ask them, when you graduate, how great is it going to be when you get into the real world and you're allowed to have fun twice next year? Once at the company picnic and once at the holiday party, and then you're not allowed to have any fun in between for those 6 months. And they all go,
yeah, I think I'll get into grad school because I'm not ready for the workplace yet.
Yeah, and so that isn't the case for every company, obviously. And there are a lot of great startup companies. There are some like Google and Zappos and Southwest Airlines that are great examples that have included fun as part of their core operation. And there's also a lot of legacy companies out there that are turning their culture towards fun because they see it as this competitive advantage and, on a whole other discussion point, a way to attract new, young millennial talent, which is really important to them.
Nat Measley with us on This Week in America. The website is morefunatwork.com. The book is The Fun Department Presents Playing It Forward. Some would look at and think, okay, this is an added expense. And again, you make the case, and it depends on who you're working with. But in many cases, you can reallocate, you can get to the point. And you're saying basically for the cost per month per employee of a meal, you can implement a fun program that actually will end up with verifiable results.
Yeah, absolutely. We take people through a process of looking at what they're already spending on fun. And the interesting part is there are many companies out there that are spending inefficiently on fun things. So they have that once a year holiday party where they're spending it potentially in the thousands of real money. And if you're doing it on a weekend or an evening where people not only have to donate their personal time, but might have to rent a tux or a limousine and get babysitters, these are all real world problems. And if you do all of that math and add it up and divide it by 2, it typically comes out to be almost less than what you think you have to spend on all of those events. We liken it back to a couple companies we know give out gift cards as a recognition or a reward or just because people are working for their company, which is also a really important concept. And what do you do, we ask, after you've given everybody a gift card for 6 months? Is month 7 another gift card to
yes.
the same gas station or the same convenience store? And if the answer is yes, we try to get people to think a little bit more creatively, consider a bit of a different approach in how you're not only defining what fun is, but what's going to be effective for people to play along, for sure.
Nat Measley, our guest, the website is morefunatwork.com. In talking about that, it's interesting because in the book, Playing It Forward, you really make the case that most businesses already have the foundation in place. It may not be designated a fun department. They may not even know it, but they've got someone that brings in cookies on an ongoing basis, someone that's got the fantasy sports they're trying to get organized. So really, if you look around, you've probably got the roots for it right in your organization now.
Yeah, we started the business 10 years ago under this premise that every company is going to need a fun department, and nobody has one, and we'll help them develop one. And then as we started to look over the years, we started to find that, most companies do already have what we would call a fun department. It could be in the form of that employee events committee or the human resources office because they're trying to do good things for the people or their employees. Sometimes the leader, the manager, the CEO, the president, whoever that director is, that leader in that position can single-handedly be the fun department or define how successful a fun department is within a company. We talk a lot about getting leaders bought in and engaged so that they can say yes to fun because it can be a competitive advantage for them in their business if they can champion it without sacrificing their business. The fun department are business people too, and so we want those leaders to understand it is possible to have the best of both worlds. You just may have to adapt what you're already thinking.
All the information on the Fun Department is available at their website, morefunatwork.com. You can sign up for the newsletter, get a lot of great information that way as well. And the book's available all across the country. The Fun Department presents Playing It Forward, the definitive how-to model for creating a winning workplace culture. I mentioned before that you work with all size companies. I mean, you work with Fortune 100 companies, small family-owned businesses, and nonprofits. So basically, you can develop a program for all of these. And let's focus on the nonprofits for a minute. Most of these are really budget conscious. They really feel, okay, we've only got X amount of dollars to play with here. What kind of results do you have for nonprofits? And again, nonprofits go through a whole lot of employees. I'm assuming this will help bottom line in terms of retention and training new people all the time?
Yes, yeah, we try to identify with our companies that we do work with what are their key performance indicators. So what are the things they want their fun department or our work with them to focus on? And two of the most popular that relate directly to some of the nonprofits that we work with are that attrition rate, so keeping the talent around that you already have, keeping people on board. Expensive to replace an employee. There's research that suggests it can be as much as 2.5 times that person's salary just to replace if they leave. And so just that expense alone as an opportunity cost makes sense to focus fun on keeping people happy, keeping them engaged, keeping them around. And actually with one of the bigger national nonprofits we work with, they work directly with hospitals and care for younger people when they're going through some really tough things. And so what they found is actually the customer experience, in this case, it is young people who are going through treatments at hospitals, becomes better the more they implement and institute fun. They do a lot of fun on their own. They just didn't quite have a process or a science to it. And they weren't really measuring that customer satisfaction scale. They didn't really have an existing scale they were using. And so we were able to direct fun at that result. And the results were interesting and definitely their customer satisfaction scores were boosted as a result of the fun being that variable.
Nat Measley with us on This Week in America, CEO and managing partner, the Master of Fun at the Fun Department. His website is morefunatwork.com. The book is called The Fun Department Presents Playing It Forward. A couple minutes left in the program. We talked last time with Nick about Wilmington University and how they incorporated sort of a real-life experience. You work with another organization and association, the Voluntary Protection Programs Participants Association. Now, if you can make this fun, you actually get a gold star. Talk about that. This is an association, and you actually have gone in. It's a very serious. Well, you can give us the background, but it's a very serious get together. You lightened it up, and all of a sudden, you got people that want to go to their association meetings.
Yeah, say VPPPA 5 times fast.
I can't say it once fast.
Within their board and with us. Yeah, this was, I mean, potentially one of the most serious at-work topics you could possibly have. This is a conference. It's 85% men, men who are in charge of the guys who are out there on the front lines. It's in a region. It's a specific region, about 5 states in the U.S. that come together for this conference. And these are safety managers and safety presidents and officials at big companies. They're hanging up high line wires on power poles. They are working in nuclear generators. They are out there on the front lines every day with wind-powered turbines and things that can literally kill you. And their slogan from their first conference, the first year we worked with them, it was really touching. It was bring them home to dinner. And that was their ultimate goal, was that these safety managers would learn something. We wouldn't teach them that. The Fun Department was not teaching them how to rig up onto a high-line power pole, right, or how to walk into a nuclear generator. We don't know that. We don't want to know that. We don't want to be in that position. That's not our expertise. However, we were implementing short doses of fun throughout this 4-day conference, and those doses of fun opened up people's ears so they did hear those messages even better. And we've had multiple safety managers, directors, presidents from those big companies come back to us and say, you know what, we thought about fun. We implemented it a little bit, not while you're out on the power pole or while you're in that nuclear generator, But when you're doing a training for them, if you can add a little bit of fun and then teach them something, they're open, they're listening. And so it was really neat to hear. Little did we know 10 years ago that when we started the company, an application would literally be to help these big safety officials at these bigger companies, these big energy companies, bring their employees home to dinner. But it was just touching. It was amazing to hear. And we've worked with that conference now for a couple years, and even started working with a few of their the companies that actually attend that conference as well every year.
Well, fun is good. Nat Measley, our guest on This Week in America, CEO, managing partner of the Fun Department. They've been creating fun in the workplace since 2005. The website is very simple, morefunatwork.com. Of course, you can go to our website, thisweekinamerica.us, and link on directly. The book we're talking about, it's very easy to read. It's a playbook. It will give you information that you can get started implementing fun in your workplace. It's the Fun Department presents Playing It Forward, the definitive how-to model for creating a winning workplace culture. Nat, it's been a pleasure to have you on the program. It's been fun. Thank you so much for being with us on the show.
Well, I'm glad it was fun. If it wasn't fun, I'd have to fire myself. So I'm happy. You're happy. That's all that matters to me. And thank you, Rick. I always love telling our story, and I'm good to get to share with just a few other people. So really, really appreciate your time.
Well, it's great having you with us on the program. Again, Nat Measley, CEO and managing partner at the Fun Department. Nat's website, very simple, morefunatwork.com. You're listening to This Week in America, our website, thisweekinamerica.us.